All right. Welcome back to the PCC podcast. And today we have a fun episode. I think, was it you two paired together that you came up with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I will give credit to Alejandro though.
Sweet. Okay. So we did an activity on our last team meeting when we split up into pairs and we came up with different podcast ideas and then voted on it as a team. And this was definitely the most entertaining idea that was come up with by you two. So today we've got Coach Rachel and then we have Alejandro, who some of our clients know, but a lot of people front facing have no idea who the heck you are. But he's our enrollment advisor. So he helps women in the first step of enrolling here at PCC. And is also a coach himself outside of PCC. So do you want to introduce yourself just so like people know a little bit more about you and then we can just get into it?
Yeah, I'm Alejandro, as you guys heard, and I am the head coach and owner of Vital Force Fitness. And then alongside PCC, I'm one of the first people you may or most of you might talk to when starting your journey here, just getting you set up, making sure everything works, and then putting you alongside your coach and introducing you to the rest of the team. I've been a part of fitness and health and coaching for 8 years now, running my own business online for almost 5. And then I just love the sales side of things. I love what PCC does. So that's why I'm here helping out, trying to bring on as many women as possible to change their lives and be better, and just help reach my ultimate goal of having as many people as possible feel as good as possible or feel as awesome as I do on a day-to-day basis.
Sweet. Well, on that note, let's debunk some bullshit so that people can do that.
Yeah,
All right.
our favorite, huh?
Yeah. So basically, this episode is all about like what matters versus what doesn't. Like you're stressing over freaking seed oils, but you haven't slept for 3 nights straight, like at all, ever. So we just kind of came up with a list and we're just going to riff off the things that we see on social media. We see people paying attention to, our clients putting too much attention towards, and just debunking all of it. So I'll open it up to you guys to just start taking it away here.
Yeah, I mean, might as well start with that seed oil one, right? I feel like this goes a little bit further back than, just the last week. We had our team retreat. It was super awesome. And it was late night and we got on a big topic of, shit that matters and doesn't matter when it comes to your health and things people freak out about. And seed oils was one of the ones that I guess I kind of got fired up about. And, yeah, it's just ridiculous. We got guys like Paul Saladino and all these other big influencers telling people, you need to do X, Y, and Z. You need to eliminate this, but in a more fear-mongering way, when we all know 90% of people trying to get on their health journey, they just struggle with figuring out where to start in general, like everything. And you got people coming in throwing stuff like, watch out for your seed oils, like don't go out to eat, don't eat Cheez-Its. It's like, what? Are you serious? Like this is your focus right now. This is what you want people to know. This is the message you want to get across. So it's just ridiculous. Like we talked about, you are worried about seed oils, but then you're not drinking water, or you're worried about seed oils, but you're not getting sleep. You're worried about seed oils, but you're not exercising. Like, where do we make it make sense when it comes to some of these things?
Right. And I think a big thing with it too is the fact that the people that are so specific on these, minuscule topics are talking to the top 1% versus the majority. So another example, detox teas and cleanses, although I am doing a parasite cleanse right now. I'll throw that in. But no, ultimately, like you said, at the end of the day, if you aren't drinking water, what is a detox tea going to do for you? If you aren't occasionally getting a sweat in here or there, if your bowel movements aren't regular, like that's how you detox. You sweat, you go to the bathroom, not drink tea. So it really, we're making things a little too complicated and we're spending money where we don't need to spend money.
Yeah. Well, and also too, it's like, I guess on the seed oils part, it's also like just a really discouraging place to start. Like hypothetically, if you were like, that's my one thing that I'm going to focus on, like you could make some progress, I'm sure, if you cut out all seed oils because it's in freaking everything. But that's also the downside, is like it's in everything. So kind of my philosophy on it is like, are you just going to be so obsessed with everything that you can't have that you just get so discouraged and you're like, I can't stick with this. This isn't sustainable. Like in today's day and age, I feel like seed oils are just kind of like common practice in like food manufacturing and frying and food production that like, would it be great to get rid of some of them? Sure. But like also, fun fact, when you increase the amount of nutrient dense foods in your diet, single ingredient food sources, guess what happens? Seed oils go down. Also, like just the like where do you focus? You focus on like what you're restricting, what you're including. I know we talk about that all the time, but just like that one switch could help a lot of people because the same outcome could happen, but you could be really freaking miserable and discouraged or encouraged the whole time too.
Yeah, funny, like on the seed oil thing, I had a story. So I had a ex-client or just someone I know, whatever, let's just talk about it that way. I make rice like all the time. Being Hispanic, Latino, like I have a rice pot that I literally travel with if applicable. I'm bringing it everywhere. And the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of corn oil. Like it's got to be the corn oil or it doesn't work. I swear it like use olive oil. And I'm like, I hate this rice, but use corn oil. It's amazing. 1 tablespoon to 5 cups of dry rice. So if you make a pot of rice with 5 cups of dry rice, think about how much rice that actually is, right? I mean, you're eating rice for 6 meals, like 1 to 2 cups. Anyways, I post a story. I'm like, hey, if you want to make the best rice, super simple. 5 cups of rice, 5 cups of water, 1 tablespoon corn oil, 1 tablespoon salt, done. And lo and behold, let's just say Deborah pops up in my messages and goes, oh my God, you're using corn oil for your rice? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me that this 1 tablespoon of corn oil that I'm going to eat over the span of a week is going to fuck me up so bad that I'm going to have to watch what I'm putting in my food? Like I have to stop. It's like you drink 4 times a week. You drink alcohol and you're telling me corn oil is bad for me. Like, make it make sense. Like, that's the thing that I don't understand. It's people telling you, hey, watch your seed oils and your corn oils. And it's like, why don't you watch what you're doing? You're literally putting poison in your body, but since it's socially acceptable, it's okay. It's bad, but since everyone does it, who cares? But then you hear one person be like, hey, if you eat seed oils, it's going to mess up your health. And you're like, how dare you use 1 tablespoon of corn oil?
Yeah, that's a important juxtaposition is the alcohol versus these other things conversation. I've seen that actually come up a few times from a couple of people that I follow. Like, do you guys know who Sohee Lee is?
Mhm.
This is a very like evidence based practitioner, kind of similar message to mine, to be totally honest. But she was kind of saying that same thing of like what we're fear mongering around this and that and that and that, and all of y'all are binge drinking on the weekends. And listen, do what you want to do, but like it's the hypocrisy that gets me, right? Like I don't judge you for drinking. Like she was like, I'll have a drink. Actually, no, I think she's sober. But like people will have a drink from time to time. We'll have a drink from time to time, maybe. But it's really not the action. It's the fact that like it's not mathing. The math is not mathing.
Yeah, like you get to pick and choose your evils or what you want to do. It's like, oh, I want to focus on this and make this okay. When in reality, it's like that's not how that works. If you're against this minuscule thing, like why aren't you against the thing that's huge? Like you literally binge drink, but you draw the line at seed oils. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. What about on the detox season cleanse? I know you brought it up, Rachel, but you were like, but I'm also on a parasite cleanse. But I think that's an important distinction to draw of like why, let's say, can you be on a parasite cleanse compared to, because I'll be honest, I actually got some ads for parasite cleanses like a couple months ago, and I remember looking at it and being like, Sally from like Sally Soccer Mom is getting parasite cleanse ads, and she's going to think that she needs to do this when she's not eating vegetables or exercising or doing anything, versus like your situation.
Let me just say, since I have made a story post about doing the parasite cleanse, which I'm like, oh, did I make a mistake here? I have had probably the most engagement I've had in Lord knows how long of people reaching out wanting to do it themselves. Where'd you order this from? Like, how should I do it? What made you know you should do it? And here's the thing. I'm doing it for a specific reason related to health. And that is because I lived in mold for a year and a half, figured that out, went through a almost 8-month healing journey, and realized kind of like the last step of this is just optimizing gut health and ensuring that, because oftentimes when there is mold, there's parasites, ensuring that we're just clearing those out so my digestion is back to normal, I guess you could say. But again, it has taken me so much work and being diligent about optimizing my detox pathways, making sure I'm properly supporting my liver, and setting my body up for success to even go into a parasite cleanse. Let me just say, if you don't have regular bowel movements, you can't do a parasite cleanse. You are not clearing the toxins out of your body. Ultimately, if I was not in that place, I would not be here. So I think it's just understanding that you can't just always run in and do the detox teas, which what even is a detox tea? Lord knows. But I would love to know the ingredients and the science behind it. But all of these random ads that everyone sees for different cleanses, different teas, parasite cleanses, whatever, it's just sales tactics to get you in the door. And sure, maybe you will notice, I have a little bit more mental clarity. But yeah, no, I bet you'd have a lot more mental clarity if instead of sleeping 4 hours a night, you slept 6, even 7. Would love 8, but come on. Start small instead of going right to the quick instant gratification fixes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a time and place thing for everything, whether it's detoxing of, parasites or detoxes in general, getting rid of seed oils. For instance, I had a buddy that was doing a bodybuilding show, and towards the tail end of it, it was hey, we need to take out all anti-inflammatories, anything that isn't whole foods, anything that might aggravate your gut. And lo and behold, he stopped drinking milk. He cut out seed oils. He literally went bare bone on everything. But it's okay, you're 2 weeks out from a show. These are things you got to do, or for you, for instance, okay, I've done 8 months of all this other preparation, and now I can finally get onto the last bit of what I need. And it comes down to a parasite cleanse, and people look at that and they go, well, why can't I do that? Because you're not there yet. You don't just get to do whatever you want because you heard someone else do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that with whether it's teas. I was actually looking at my my phone real quick because I took some pictures of some funny detox teas at the Asian grocery store. Oolong fat burning tea, premium dieters tea, and look at this. It's got a bikini model on the but what I was gonna say was the point of what Rachel said about her engagement. That's what that's the sign that if you're listening to this and you don't know how to discern what's real on social media, what should you pay attention to versus what you shouldn't, how much engagement you got off of one story, one post about a parasite cleanse, and everybody goes crazy, right? And that's the stuff that kind of goes viral or sells, or people want to have that quick, oh, I just do this and then my brain fog will clear up, I'll have more energy, I don't have to do anything else, I just have to take these pills. And so if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, especially if it doesn't rely on you changing or your habits. A big piece of marketing nowadays is shifting blame. It's it's not you, it's the parasite. It's not you, it's the seed oils. And the reality is we have to take responsibility over our habits. And that's not sexy, or nor does it get traction. People don't like to blame themselves, so we like to swipe away. But that could be maybe a signal to the listener if they're trying to discern on social media.
Yeah. I used to work at GNC, and I mean, GNC sells detoxes. GNC tells you to, push the sale, whatever's going to get you the most money, which is usually the most expensive products are going to bring in the employee the most money. Anyways, they sold lots of detoxes, and our number one selling detox, and it was hilarious. And you actually weren't allowed to sell them to people if they came in looking to pass a drug test. So there was one bottle that was in a case. You had to have a key. I had to go over there and unlock it for them. And if they told me, hey, this I'm here for the detox cleanse, they even knew when they came in, they would use the right words to not say I'm here for a drug test, so that way they could get the cleanse, so they could take it. But people would come in and be like, you're here because you need to pass a drug test. They go, yeah. I'm like, all right, I got you. And I'd open the thing and sell it to them because I made money on it. So I was going to sell it to them. But it actually worked. People would come in, they'd be like, this thing helps me pass every drug test I've ever taken. But we also sold tons of other detox cleanses. And when I worked there, like people come in, I need a detox. I go, get out. Like, what do you mean you need a detox? Go for a walk. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you have a liver and a kidney. Like, they do that for you. So I like working in a space where you had to sell detoxes. Anytime someone came in, I'd be like, there's no point. Like, this doesn't work. I'd be arguing with people about why they don't need this, and I'd be getting backlash. And the only time I ever did sell one was when people needed to pass a drug test, because there was literally drug addicts coming in like, this stuff works. And if anyone's going to know what works, it's going to be those guys. And they weren't coming in for your run-of-the-mill detox because Kara needs to lose 5 pounds before her vacation.
Not wrong.
Yeah, that's for dang sure.
Yeah, that's why you didn't last long at GNC. You kept shoving people out the door.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you can't do that.
Go home, eat a vegetable.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, what else?
I'm gonna go.
What?
Go. I'll go. Okay.
No, you're good.
No carbs in the evening. When people, okay, yeah, we'll stick with that one for now, but no carbs in the evening. Hear me out, guys. Carbs help with serotonin and melatonin production. I'm not saying you need to eat, a whole tub of ice cream every night before bed, but getting carbs in before you go to bed is actually really important to have good quality sleep. And this whole movement of, if I eat carbs after 6 p.m., then I'm going to wake up heavier or I'm not going to sleep well. I'm like, where did this come from? Where did this come from? It's, yeah, that one.
I have a theory.
Say it again.
I have a theory on where I think it came from.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't know if it's true, but like, I'm pretty sure like especially when it comes to bodybuilders, and how we would like time our meals and things like that when we would bodybuild, it's like you'd want to, at least in my experience, I wanted to control what I saw on the scale the next morning to like the nth degree, because I was like, well, I need to hit a new low so my coach can see and that like I'm making progress and I'm ready for stage and whatnot. And so like meal timing and all these little details that really don't matter for pretty much everyone listening here, like those were things that you really did pay attention to when you had everything else dialed. And so I would like try to keep my last meal earlier and earlier, because the later it was, the higher the weight on the scale was, from not from body fat, but literal freaking food sitting in my stomach still that I haven't like used. And so like that was kind of where I got that idea. And then I kind of looked at it from like a practical lens, and like the flip side of it is I think people started to also create rules around that, because that's when just like willpower is lowest. Like that's when you end the day, you're tired, and if the bag of chips is next to you, you're just going to keep reaching in and you're not going to think about it. And so it's really not, it's not about the carbs themselves, but really just about overconsumption at that point and like not paying attention to calories. So I think it was like maybe one of those two. Like maybe it's people just trying to give themselves rules, kind of like intermittent fasting. Like if you just cut off your food at this time, you'll lose weight. Well, the reason that works is because you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit most of the time, because you have less of a window to eat. So I toggle between those two whenever I think about that one.
I think that's actually a really good point, because when I was competing, I always did a high protein, high fat meal before dinner. And I was like, well, if I eat too many carbs, I'm going to, retain the water and my weight's going to be up. So that is definitely a good point. On top of the fact that I agree, I think people do tend to struggle the most at night with cravings and or, just wanting to snack and whatnot and lose that willpower that they may have carried through the day. So yeah. I'd agree with that. But
yeah, I think it does come from that, like the top of the top doing something, and then other people seeing it. I mean, yeah, it always is. And they're like, oh, I need to do this, but have no idea why. And then it gets picked up by, people who are like, how can I make money on this? Or how can I, get views on this? And it comes from the people like, oh, people are catching on to, I shouldn't eat carbs after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever, 2 hours before bed. And they're like, let's talk about this. Let's make this a really big deal. Let's make people afraid of this. So that way people listen to us, and now they're in our pipeline, and now we can sell them on something. Because same way, like you guys, when I was like really deep into my training, and, I had a nutrition coach, and it was like, hey, like, let's just cut off eating at 8:30, no more. And it wasn't like I can't eat carbs because it's late. It was just like, just be done, just be done eating. This is your last meal. You're going to wake up feeling light. The scale's going to be down, and you're not going to have any, you're not going to catch yourself trying to, piece together the last bit of your food. So it takes the guessing game out of things. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. It was more so for that, like you guys said. And then people catch on to that, and how can we make this something that people are going to pay more attention to than they really need to? It's like, realistically, like you said, if you're in a calorie deficit, it doesn't matter when you eat. You could eat all day long. You could eat all your food at night. If you're in the calorie deficit, it's going to work. I mean, I used to have, I still do, but working with night shift workers, whether they're nurses or in the automotive industry, it's like, they'll come to me like, Alejandro, I start my day when everyone goes to sleep. And it's like, okay, cool. So what does that mean for you? And they're like, I don't know. How do I go about my food? It's like, it just starts over like everyone else. Like, you have the same 24 hours. They're just flipped upside down. I was like, it'd be crazy for me to tell you, you can't eat when the sun's down. Like, that's not how your day goes. And, I'd have night shift workers eating their first meal of the day at midnight, and they were still dropping pounds, and they're eating carbs all through the night. And it's like, they ate carbs all night. Why didn't they gain any weight? And it's like, they're losing, but it's not a matter of like when you're eating them. It's just how much food you're actually eating in general. And I mean, some people do, eat food and they go to bed and they're like, oh my God, that was terrible. The last 2 nights I had Ben and Jerry's before bed. And let me tell you, I got the best sleep ever.
I think something on that is also really misconstrued, that you made a great point within, is like the degree to which things make a difference is really misconstrued. I think that's where a lot of people are misdirected unintentionally, because the truth of the matter is like, a lot of the things that we're mentioning, when timed appropriately, dosed appropriately, have the right context around them, actually do make a difference. Like night shift example, like I was just kind of thinking about, like, I was thinking about saying like, oh yeah, like there's no like switch in your brain that like when the sun goes down, it just shuts off and your body's like fat storing mode, like woo. And then I also, then another part of my brain was like, well, there is like, there is a difference between how you metabolize when it's like the later hours of the day, it's dark out, like, and your body can sense that it's nighttime versus daytime, and like circadian nutrition actually is a thing. But the degree to which it makes a difference compared to the big rocks, which we'll talk about towards the end of this podcast, is really, really minimal. And so like someone who's night shift, like, yeah, they're going to be working against like nature and their body, like to an extent, but that doesn't negate the fact that like being in a calorie deficit, the movement they have, the hydration that they have, and how they take care of their sleep is going to make a bigger difference with their body composition overall, especially when there's someone who like might need to lose 20, 30, 40, 50 plus pounds. Now, if we're talking last 5, 10 pounds, you're in great shape, you're trying to optimize, now we're having a different conversation. So I think just remembering like a lot of the things that we're talking about, we're not saying like there's no truth to that. Like there's truth, there's research, there's evidence behind a lot of these things, but it's the way that they're overblown.
Yeah. Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think like that even plays into, for one of our examples, red light therapy, cold plunging, all of the recovery methods. That's not to say they don't have a purpose and can't benefit us, but if we're not doing the foundational things and nailing those on a regular basis, then what are we even utilizing those for? So I think, like you said, we can kind of look at everything we could come up with and say, yeah, in some circumstance, could this potentially help? Sure, to some degree, sure. But is that going to be the one thing that changes your life? No.
Yeah. Alejandro put it in the notes. Cold plunging, even though we did this.
Yeah. We a couple weeks ago we did cold plunge and red light therapy and sauna. It was great. It was amazing. I had an awesome time. I felt fantastic. But one thing that stood out to me, and I think the guy might have shown up when you guys left, because Aaron and I were still getting in the Thermatech boots, which by the way, fantastic, but not something you need on a day to day. Anyways, we're still sitting there. We're like, got 20 minutes. I think he even added another 10 to his on his own because he's like, I'm just going to sleep. But a guy walks in, older gentleman. I think his name was like Mr. James, let's just say. And he was a regular because they knew exactly what he wanted to do. They were calling him by his name. They had everything going. He was paying the bills there pretty much. But he was doing a 20 or 30 minute red light sauna followed by a 5 to 10 minute cold plunge, and at least an hour he had to be doing that because he was doing 2 cycles of it. Like I caught him finishing the first one, going back for a second one, and then he also was getting in just the red light. Like they have a curtain that was just red light. You just stand there and spin in circles until you throw up, pretty much. Anyways, if you looked at Mr. James, he was an older man, very little muscle mass. I mean, gut hanging over his shorts, could barely walk. But the thing he was sold on was, this is what's going to help me get out of that. And it's like, maybe if you were peak shape, peak condition, you were crushing in the gym, you were packing on the miles, on the bike, on the road, you were in the gym 5 days a week, like these things will help you. They will help you recover. But like for the day to day, like you're essentially wasting your time if you're here every day for an hour, 2 hours. Like you could have gone for a walk, you could have exercised, you could have prepped meals, like you could have done all these other things that are actually going to push the needle forward by a lot, right? It's like that difference between like that third a tank of gas and a full tank of gas. Like the things with the red light therapy and the cold plunge, like that is the last like 2% of the puzzle. And people get sucked into this is what's going to help me, because it's, especially for older people, right? I mean, he was older. It's like, this is very easy. You come in, sit down and just chill. And it's like, that's nothing has to go into it. But at the end of the day, that isn't going to help you. When it says, if you sauna every day for, the next 10 years, you're going to drop your rate of morality by 50%. It's like, the fuck you are, but you're still drinking on the weekends. Like you're just negating it, but this is the easy option. So it's like things like that, people get suckered into it where they think, this is going to help with disease. It's like, yeah, it does. If you're doing all these other things, they forgot to mention that, in the fine print, it says, if you're hitting your steps, your nutrition, your sleep, your exercise, and then you do this, you're going to add 5 years to your life, but no one cares about the fine print.
Yeah, I wish there was a fine print. That would be cool. No, I love that because, like, I love sauning. I love cold plunging. It's so fun. But, like, this is one of my favorite things to do with clients, and they hate me for it. But is whenever they ask questions about this, I just flip it back to a question. Like, let's say they say, like, hey, like, if I cold plunge, like, should I do that before or after my workout? I've heard it, like, stunts muscle recovery. Or like, but for example, muscle building, right? Muscle growth. I just flip it back. Like, so how often are you planning on cold plunging? Oh, I'm not. I'm just interested. Oh, okay. So do I need to answer this question or like, are we good? Or yeah, like things like that. Or how often should I be in the sauna for the cardiovascular benefits? Because like there's cool research to show that like being in a sauna that's like a hot sauna, like not the infrared like 150, but like you're in like 200 degrees, does actually have impacts on like your VO2 max and your zone 2 cardio. But it's like if you're sitting in the sauna and you're not doing any cardio to actually further your cardiovascular health, the effects are very, very minimal, right? It's you're an endurance athlete and you're doing this to further the benefit, not I just want to skip the workout part and like just get the benefits. So I don't know. I always just kind of flip it back to like, so what makes you ask? And they're like, I just saw it, like, and it's like, that's not actually something that they're doing, but they're asking these detailed questions, and this is where their attention's being pulled. So I don't do that to like make fun of clients, but it's just to make them think like, why are we putting so much of our mental energy into these things that don't matter?
Yeah, I have a lot of local clients, so like I know where they're working out, what they have available to them, and any of my clients that have the availability to get into a sauna, I'm like, listen, you do not have to sauna, but if you want to, I'm like, do it on your rest day, do it when you have nothing going on. Don't make it a priority, but if you get in there 3 times a week, it's gonna feel pretty damn good. But on top of that, they're already doing everything else, and I'm like, hey, don't cut your weight sessions short so you can sauna. I'm like, this is a whole different thing. Like you are going to go on the days you have to do nothing else. Like this is your rest day. Now we can talk about getting in the sauna. But if you're telling me, Alejandro, I'm not warming up today so I can sauna, it's like, no. That's not how that works. It's like,
warm up
hey,
in the sauna.
Yeah, right. Get in the sauna for a warm up, or it's like, hey, I'm just going to cut, a set off of everything so I have more time to sauna. It's like, that's not how that works. These things aren't like, oh, I'm going to shave off time in the areas that matter so I can sauna or cold plunge or red light therapy. It's like, no, these are things you do after you've done everything else, after you've gone through the proper steps, and now it's like, okay, I got a day, nothing going on. I have the time. I'm resting. What can I do that's just going to feel really good? And it's like, yeah, if you get in a sauna on the rest day for 30 minutes, you are going to feel like amazing when you get out. You're going to feel the best you've ever felt. But it's like, we're not replacing other things for it though. It's not like at the pinnacle. It's the back end. You've done everything else. Now get in the sauna and hang out. Just relax. Like, it's going to be really good for you.
Agreed. Do we want to talk about any more before we go on, or do we want to go ahead and go on?
Yeah, I have one. I was just thinking about it because I was taking a sip of my water, and it's honestly one that like got me. It didn't get me enough to make me change anything, I'll be honest. But but a friend of mine at well, a gym, the gym shut down, but a gym that I used to go to would always like comment, because I have like a couple Stanley cups that I rotate through, and he'd always comment like, there's lead in the bottom of that's poisoning you, that's toxic, right? And I'm like, but I wouldn't get my water in if I didn't have this cup. So like, how big of a difference is that making? And like, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, dang, I should really like switch from a Stanley to like something else, because like
In a
lead,
wallow, duh.
that doesn't sound good. And like, I know nothing, like honestly close to nothing about that. And I haven't looked into it. I haven't researched it, but I just heard it, and I'm kind of like scared. I'm like, am I doing something bad? And I know that like, it's probably another one of these things, but I still use my Stanleys, but I still think about it from time to time. They almost got me.
Actually,
oh man.
Like, do I switch too? I know. Yeah, it's hard because obviously with a lot of the fitness related things, we have a lot of background knowledge, and we can say, all right, that's probably some crap that we don't need to lean into necessarily. But when we're outside of our scope, I'm like, with the lead, I'm like, well, I don't know, do I need to switch? Or the example, if you go in the sun, eventually you're going to get sun cancer. And I'm like, or skin cancer, excuse me. And I'm like, guys, the sun brings me so much joy. I need vitamin D. I'll wear some sunscreen, but like, come on. Can we cut the fear mongering and scare tactics from all the crap and just let people enjoy their lives?
Especially the sun. Like, we're all vitamin D deficient.
Literally.
Like every single one of us.
I went outside like once today, and that was to work out. It's like, you need it. It's like, you're not going to get skin cancer because you go outside for an hour a day. Like, that's not how that works.
Like, that should be a requirement. Come on.
It really should be.
Yeah. And on the water, I mean, I didn't think we were going to jump on water. That fires me up. But I literally drink. This is a plastic water bottle, right?
Microplastics.
Yup, the microplastics are in it. I'm bathing in it, but I use this for like until I lose it. And oh my gosh, I have lots of different friends that look at water very differently, and I want to punch them all in the face because it's bullshit. Like, I have a couple buddies that are like, I can't drink tap water. You drink tap water? And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's free. I have it. It tastes fine. I live in Michigan. Like, this is probably the best tap water you're ever going to get. And they're like, I can only drink filtered water. And I go, oh yeah. And then you can go do drugs at the end of your day, right? Like, that's how that works, because the filtered water is better for you. Or then I have, others that talk about like the bottles, and it's like, how all of a sudden the Stanley came under heat because like there's lead in Stanleys. And I had a couple friends that were always, we do, and it's like, they're like, hey, you should really like cut down on your plastic. Like, well, they even offered to buy us, me and Anna, like steel or metal water bottles, right? And at one point they were Stanleys, and it was like, when I heard that, I go, are you still good? Like, cause you're drinking lead. I'm like, so should I like keep my microplastics? Like, you let me know where we should go from here, because apparently this was really big, and like half of it's for the environment and half of it's for your health. And I'm like, but if I'm using a plastic water bottle for 14 days, aren't I saving the environment? Like, I'm doing what you want, and I'm still like keeping up. Or then I have some buddies that are like, Alejandro, like, you need to drink filtered water. You can't be drinking, tap water. And I'm like, shut up. Like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you just ate a whole stick of butter an hour ago, and you're claiming that your water is the reason? Like, get out of my face, man. I can't. Because everyone, anytime I go anywhere, I just, oh yeah, filter's over there. I'm like, where's your sink? Like, I just need a sink and a water bottle. Like, let me fill up. And the same people that question me, I'm like, you can't even like run. You can't even work out. Like, you get terrible sleep, but it must be because your water bottle. It must be your water. It's not Osmosis Jones running through your system, clearing everything out for you, So that like makes me livid because I've been drinking tap water for 29 years now and I'm an ox. So
I'm an ox.
I love
Yeah,
it.
the hills people choose to die on. I'm like, can we reel it in? Come on.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, on the note of water, I mean, kind of we'll get into the big rocks here and just kind of okay, we've shat on enough things at this point that we do understand nuance and the fact that like these things in large degrees probably aren't a good thing. These things in specific circumstances, like I'll just say like plastics, you're struggling with estrogen dominance, hormonal imbalances, like all of these things, having tons and tons of plastics in your food, in your water bottles, in your Tupperware, like, yeah, like I would actually switch those things out when you're doing the basics. So we understand the nuance. So hopefully y'all obviously take this in the way that we are meaning to portray it. But let's focus on what should people be focused on, with the first one being hydration. I'll take that. Just actually drinking water. And whether it's out of a Stanley or if it's out of a plastic water bottle or if it's out of a BPA free, lead free, zero microplastics glass container that is perfect for your hormones and for your life that you spent $400 on, like it's water. And at the end of the day, we are 70 something percent water. We need a lot of water every single day. It can come from drinking water, it can come from water dense foods like fruits and vegetables, but we want to get at least half of our body weight in ounces of water. And then when we sweat and we're outside and it's hot, we need more, and we need water and electrolytes. But yeah, but really, I mean, most people, like, I don't know if you guys can speak to this too. Probably 90% of clients that come in, I'm like, so how do you feel about your hydration? And they're just like, it could be better. And like,
Oh yeah.
I think one of the worst ones that I have heard, love the girl to death, but it was kind of a joke after she like progressed, saw some results, like got going in her journey. But she was like, yeah, it was like 2 Mountain Dews every day. That was it. I was like, oh man.
Headache.
So I mean,
Oh,
that's one where we don't need to focus on the plastics,
Yeah, no, it goes beyond that. I think water's great, and it's just like I even have clients where I tell them, hey, if you don't get your water in because you don't like water, like, and you need it with Crystal Light, I'd rather you do that than just not
Oh
drink
yeah.
water at all. Like,
Neo
drink
drops.
all the
Yeah.
yeah, do it all.
I,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
used to drown myself in flavored BCAAs.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
and that all got debunked. BCAAs are useless, but like that and like a mixture of that with beta alanine, like I was just like itching all
you,
day.
yeah, and whatever makes you do these small things that really leave a huge impact. Like, if you whatever's going to get you to drink your water, I want you to do, and then we can worry about how bad that is for you later on. Once we've already got you drinking water, that's the basis of all of it. And I think one, that like all these things, especially since we hit on like recovery stuff and things like that, I think a big one is your sleep. It's very easy, especially, in our line of work, we deal with so many people and a lot of them are parents and they're super busy or they have a lot going on in life where sleep gets put on the back burner because they need like this, like me time, or I just, I have to wake up with my kids or whatever the case may be. But I think like one of the biggest things you can do for your body, for your recovery, for your energy, your cravings, like it literally is the basis of everything is sleep. And again, some of us get 4 hours, some of us get 8 hours. Like we're very fortunate that we work in a field where we can, allow ourselves to manipulate the time that we need to get our 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, but not everyone is like that. And I think we live in a place where it's like you need 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and it's like, hold on, how much sleep are you actually getting? It's like
Yeah.
4. It's like, okay, great, do you think you could get 4.5 for me? Yeah, all right, let's do that. And it's like keep building until you do get to that 7, 8, 9. Because when you start getting to those areas, especially when it comes to sleep, you are going to see how much more energy you have, how much more mental clarity you have, how little cravings you have, food noise you have, because there's literally hormones like ghrelin produced when you sleep that literally shut off how your cravings and how hungry you are throughout the day, and allow decision making around food to be easier. But we don't have to worry about this stuff. We just need to worry about getting you to sleep more. I think it's like one of the best things, forget the cold plunge, the sauna, the infrared, all these things that can help you change minusculely. If you just slept 1 more hour a day, I guarantee you any problem you had that those things said they would fix would be gone.
Oh, yeah. My favorite is when you have a client come in that's sleeping, 5 hours, and they're like, "But I have energy. Like I feel fine. Like I'm good." And then
Just wait.
I'm like, "Just wait, just wait." I'm like, "If you feel good now and you think this is good, just wait for how phenomenal you're gonna feel when we get even 7 hours. Come on, come on."
Yeah.
It's insane. But I guess I'll go off of that, and we can kind of just touch on. Let's do strength training, daily movement, kind of make that one. I would say daily movement, like getting in some steps. Not only, it doesn't have to be going a 3-mile walk first thing in the morning. Yeah, is it great to get some sunlight first thing in the morning? Yes, we love it. But at the end of the day, if we can just get outside and move our bodies, especially after you eat a meal, to help with digestion, help with blood sugar regulation, ensure that we're actually helping all of our internal systems work optimally, it's a game changer. And imagine if we can go, we're not saying, I know the gold standard is you must get 10,000 steps a day or you are absolutely not going to hit your fitness goals. But if you're right now, like you said, Alejandro, if you're at 4,000 steps a day right now, let's maybe work towards 5,000 steps for the next week.
Yep.
It's not we have to go 0 to 100 like this. We need to just build off of what you already have, start with where you're at and meet you where you're at, and just focus on adding in some more movement into your day. That way we can increase your NEAT and we can increase your total or your TDEE. But in addition to that, strength training. I think that we could all touch on how important and amazing strength training is, not only for building muscle and just honestly mental health and energy levels, but it also helps balance your blood sugar. And it just, in general, I think anyone I've had that's come in that wasn't with strength training, and even if we start strength training once a week, the difference that people feel from once, maybe twice a week strength training in their energy, their recovery, their sleep, just overall mental clarity, again, it's like a 0 to 100 effect. So I think simply realizing too that you don't have to strength train 5 or 6 days a week. You can simply go, if you're not training at all right now, 1 to 2 times. If you're training once or twice, maybe we'll go to 3. It doesn't have to be a 0 to 100, just really focusing on starting to incorporate some more movement into your day.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how important movement is. Like, you hear the term all the time, movement is medicine. Like, it really is, and it will change your life.
I thought you were going to say motion is lotion, because that's the one that that's the one that we use whenever we're feeling beat up. But I was going to say, you know where the 10K steps come from? Do you guys know where that comes from?
I actually don't think I do.
It's literally pulled out of nowhere. It came from Japan in the 1960s. I was just like looking, because I did a like myth busting presentation for an office hours a couple months ago. So I had to like look it up because I knew it didn't come from anything scientific. And I presented on it then. And it was literally just like a simple round number that was easy to remember and easy to market. And it just picked up steam from there. But I'll nerd out a little bit, but like the research on like steps and mortality rate and movement and mortality rate, it's after you pass 5,000 steps per day, then you have basically exited what would be considered a sedentary lifestyle. And then anything between 5,000 to 7,500 gets you to like a moderately active lifestyle. And then beyond 7,500 is considered active. And then there's some really interesting research that correlates like all cause mortality risk and like how that relates to your step count. And it does kind of level off like after like 8,000 to 10,000 per day. Like it doesn't get like that much better, except for in like blue zones where like people just walk all the freaking time. They get like 20,000 steps per day and they live forever. So like there's those cases that they pull from that they're like walking all the time is like your key to a long life. But literally anything past like 7,500 a day is like golden for your health. And so like even that for some people, like I just have clients who are like addicted to the rings on their Apple Watch and they're like 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 or more is better. When I've seen like people actually walk so much that they have gut issues or digestion issues because they are moving too much.
Yep.
And then we scale it back and they actually feel better. So just know the 10K didn't come from anything scientific.
That is crazy.
Wow.
But no, I will tag off of what you just finished saying, doing too much. I did not realize how many steps I was getting because I knew I was hitting my 10K and I just wasn't even thinking about it when I got a walking pad. And I was like, holy shit, my hips hurt all the time. Like, what is going on? It's not 1 + 1 was not equaling 2 in my head for like a 2-week span. When I tell you I was hitting like 22,000 steps a day and I was inflamed as heck, my digestion was awful. And I was just like, what is going on? And then I realized, I'm like, whoa, I went from 10 to 12,000 steps a day to like 22 overnight. And I have never been so swollen in my life, so inflamed 24/7. Simply getting back down to roughly 10 to 12 is what got me feeling better again. So
way better. Too much of a good thing.
Literally.
Yeah. Too much of a good thing. I guess, not speaking of which, this doesn't have any bridge, but just moving on to the next thing is nutrition, right? That's the next big rock that everyone wants to ignore. It's, I just need to work out more and I'll get in shape, but we know we can't out train a bad diet. So really, like, the way that I kind of describe this for like, what are the big rocks and the most important things with nutrition that you need to focus on? Because like, there's so much you could, is if the goal is weight loss, total calories, being in a deficit, making sure that you have adequate protein intake because we want to be losing fat, not muscle, and then just food quality. Like, let's not worry about red 40 seed oils, whether or not you're drinking regular milk or raw milk. Like, none of that matters. Just food quality. Like, especially when you're kind of, I think a lot of times the objection people have is eating healthy is expensive. And it's because they go to the grocery store and they're like, actually, Aaron had a client who like sent him pictures of this. She was like trying to shop for some of the groceries he suggested for her. And she was sending pictures of this like organic grass-fed ground beef. She was like, this is really expensive, but like, if you really think I need it, like, I'll work it into the budget. And he was like, can you just get the like Aldi one? Like, can you just get like the store brand one? And she was like, oh. And like, the sad thing is like, that is how so many people think. Like, it needs to be organic, it needs to be non-GMO, it needs to be this, and there's a markup on all those things. But like, the reality is you're not eating fruits or vegetables at all. So like, yes, would jumping to organic be a little bit better than whatever the normal thing is? Sure. Does it matter for you? That's the real question, where like the answer is probably not for 99% of people.
I don't think any of that, like the non-GMO, organic, like that stuff, at the end of the day, if you're not doing anything, it's not going to help you at all. And then really, when you look at those in general, they're all sprayed with pesticides and all these other things as well that you probably shouldn't be eating. But yeah, when it comes to nutrition, I'm just big on consistency over time. Obviously we want to get into the nuts and bolts of things, especially if people want to lose weight in a certain amount of time. It's like, hey, we need to eat less. We need to, prioritize being in a calorie deficit, hit on our protein, eating whole foods. But for me, it's like, can you even eat the same amount of food every day? Like, if I just told you, hey, eat 2,000 calories, could you do that? Like, is that something you can do? And a lot of people to kind of figure out like what they can and can't do when it comes to how much food they're actually eating. Because, we all know this too. If you're not paying attention to it, there's days where we can eat 1,200 calories because it's a busy work day. And then there's days where we can eat the whole house because it's a weekend and we're going out and we're doing anything and we're just at these highs and lows. And my big thing is just like, just consistently eat. Like, when was the last time you decided I'm going to eat the same amount of food all week long? I don't care if it's 3,000 calories, 2,500 calories, 1,500 calories. Like, just hit the same number every day and see how you feel. Are you hungry? Are you starving? Do you make the right choices? Do you have more food? Like, let's get into that. And it's like, we can go up or down from there. And then once we get you to a place where it's like, I can comfortably eat this every day, it's like, cool. Let's see if we can add the other stuff. Let's see if we can pay attention to those macros. Let's see if we can get you eating more protein. Let's see if we can get you eating fruit, vegetables, all these other things. But I think just like, if someone can consistently eat the same amount of food every day, you will learn so much about what you do and do not need when it comes to how much food you actually need. And then you can get into the depths of everything else.
Yeah.
That's so good. Cause I mean, I was actually, my office hour with the mentorship that I do where I coach some coaches. And like a lot of them ask, how do you do this? How do you do that when you're coaching clients? And it's like the number one thing is like, I just need them, because all the things that go underneath consistently eating the same amount of food every day is the meals that you make on a regular basis, like having some regularity in grocery shopping, having some sort of way to like have predictable meals. That's how it becomes consistent, right? You don't just like eat randomly and then land on the same number of calories per day. So all the habits underneath that. And from a coaching perspective, like how much we learn as your coach about how your body's actually responding if you're just consistent, no matter if the calories are correct or incorrect. And that's where I see a lot of coaches get really tripped up. Like, are they in a deficit or are they in a surplus? And like, it doesn't matter. They just need to be consistent. And then you'll be able to tell. And like, then you won't have these questions. Yeah. So it helps on the coaching side too. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves is honestly focusing, like when coaches focus on details beyond like just get the straight line first and then we'll know what to do. The answer will be obvious from there.
Yeah, it's because we're really good at what we do, right? It's like a lot of people don't look back or like take that bird's eye view out of it. Like, yeah, obviously all of us know how to track our food and we could eat randomly all day and still end up at the same number. But most people do not do this. Like, this is not a normal thing that people do. Like 80% of people aren't walking around pulling out MyFitnessPal or whatever they're using to track and be like, oh, I'm tracking my food today. I'm going out and I'm smashing a Costco pizza. It's in MyFitnessPal. And then the rest of the day, I know how to get there, but no one else knows how to do that. And it's just like, the first step is, can you even put it into the app and pay attention to it? Like, can you eat the same? Once you do that, all of your problems are solved. All of your questions get answered because you know what their struggles are and where they're at. And then you can decide how to help them from there.
Yeah. Could not agree more. I feel like you guys kind of nailed that one. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Sweet. Yeah, no, that's a great one. So I think hopefully y'all listening to this really got a good grasp on, maybe some things that you were placing some more attention towards that you shouldn't, or where you want to place more of your focus moving forward. And my challenge to you, if you are listening to this, you're a client, you are someone random who just found this podcast, is pick just one of those big rocks and just commit to 30 days of just that before touching any details underneath it, like just that one thing. And I think you'll probably be surprised, regardless of which one you pick, like how you'll feel after doing that. So,
yeah.
Agreed.
Cool. All right, y'all. Well, this was fun. Well, we will put Alejandro and Rachel's info in the show notes so you can find them on Instagram. Give them questions, comments, and just connect after you've listened to the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. As we know, your attention is our most valuable resource that we could have from you. And we'll see you back here for the next one.